There we go. Grab the net. That's a good one, Lou. About as good as it gets. That is a tall, thick one out here on leech. Easily. What is going on, guys? Today we are back with another video. Look at this beautiful sunrise we got behind us. We're out here up on Leech Lake today. We were out here yesterday. We were out here pretty much the day before yesterday. And I've pretty much been here for a while now and just kind of having too much fun. It's me, we got my buddy Lou behind the camera. Yesterday we caught a ton of fish, did a little bit of a jig tutorial. Today we're just gonna go out and for the morning here, my last kind of morning here, just hopefully catch a whole pile of walleyes is kind of the plan. So we're launching up on the north end of the lake right now and we're gonna go break down. We had a big wind yesterday, so we're gonna go where the wind was coming into the shoreline. And it was almost so big we couldn't fish in the heavy wind yesterday, but today we should be able to fish those shorelines where the wind was coming into yesterday. We had the same wind for several days, so it's a big blow. And a lot of times that'll stack fish up where that wind's been coming in. It'll make that water a little chalkier, and it'll just kind of concentrate everything right on that first break. So that's kind of the plan today, but gorgeous sunrise. We're gonna blast off here, cover some water, hopefully go side image a huge pot of fish, and hopefully set the hook about 30, 40 times this morning. So stay tuned, let's get it going on, catch some fish. All right, spot number one out here. And whenever you're fishing these big flats, there's kind of two things you can look for. And both of those things are edges, whether that's a big structural edge, meaning a rock to sand transition or a weed to sand transition. Any of those things will generally help concentrate fish a little bit on a big flat. Or the other thing you can have is like a depth change, a depth transition, where it creates a little bit more of an edge. Walleyes, anytime they're on these big flats, they love, anytime they're at any depth, they love holding on some kind of edge. So in this particular spot, we have both a depth change, where it goes from 5 to 8 real quick, and then from 8 to 15 real quick. So these fish, it seems like, you know, over the last several weeks of fishing out here, seems like they really like that 8-foot line, you know, 7, 8, 9-foot line. So if we can kind of cinch up that amount of water, it helps to kind of isolate those fish. And we also, right at 5 feet to 6 feet, we have weeds. So we have this 5 to 6 foot weed edge that breaks out to right where those fish are real quick. So it's almost two kinds of edges. And a lot of times where you're fishing these huge flats that are miles long and half a mile out from shore, we already got fish right here. It helps to have some of these edges that generally put the odds in your favor. And we're just going to start out doing a lot of this short kind of pitch into these fish as we see them come down the screen. And oh yeah, there's a good pot right out the right now. I'll kind of take a screenshot and you guys can actually see a little bit of this fringe reed weeds off the right, and there's fish sitting right on that transition right there.
Oh yeah, he does, but he doesn't get to use it that much.
Doesn't fish enough. There it is, number one of the day. Right off of that weed edge we took that screenshot on. This seems big, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
Well, they all seem big out here.
Yes.
All right. Jig and fall walleyes in shallow water. Doesn't really get a whole lot better on a beautiful morning like this. It's like high 30s out right now. No wind. This is seeming really nice.
They're angry in the morning.
It is a nice one. Look at that. Just so many quality fish in this lake. Look at that. Just another one of those cookie cutter, chunky 22 inchers. And we are surrounded by them. They're kind of all around us here, and we should have no problem catching just a pile of fish this morning. He just choked it, huh? Look at that. Getting things going. Very good start. Let's do it many more times. There we go. And there is just a pile of them off the right side. This should be like an absolute guarantee here. fish all over out there, close to the boat, far away from the boat. And here's a fish right there. And that's calling your shots with the 360 right there. Doesn't get much better than that. This is just going to be another one of these squirrely, angry Leech Lake walleyes. And look at that, my gosh. It has been so much fun out here. It's been hard to leave. When I do leave, it's been hard not to just come right back. But I think this is the last video you guys will probably see from up here this year. Look at that, just another. We'll just scoop them up to make sure I get them here. There we go. Fish after fish after fish. Too awesome. We'll grab this guy real quick here. There we go, pop them off. I just went down to an 1/8 ounce. It's so flat I can fish real light today. So we'll see if that makes a difference. I'm sure Lou will probably get bit here in a second. Look at that. Another beautiful Leech Lake walleye to start the day. So thick, so healthy up here. Too awesome. I'll let that guy go. Do it again. Right there. So we're doing a lot of this real short pitching. And a lot of times people have this tendency when they fish a jig, they want to just throw it as far as they possibly can. Get about halfway in, reel it in, and do it again. And you get a lot of bites really close to the boat when you're jigging in shallow water a lot of times, especially when you're picking them apart like this. You can always cast farther than the side imaging or the 360 can read. So it's super important to fish that thing all the way. Fish? All the way in tight to the boat. Yeah. Oh, here's one. Just like that right there. That is exactly what you can see us doing. And I'm fishing 1/8. I'm going really slow. And that one popped it good, actually. But a lot of people, they just, for some reason, they cast a jig super far, they fish it halfway in, they reel it in, and they do the same thing again. Or fishing real tight like that can be super effective. There we go. Another beautiful walleyes. The sun's coming up out here on Leech. So we're working a big pod right off the bow right now. And this is the advantage that 360 gives you. I'll kind of throw up a screenshot right here of what it looks like. So instead of having to get perpendicular with those fish, you know, I can see them out there. So we're just kind of making repetitive casts. Obviously forward here. When I say off the bow, I mean the 360s obviously are reading from right here on the side. So it's reading right there, right in front of us. Everything's always a little bit closer than what you'd think it'd be when you're looking at the 360. So there we go. For some reason we're just in a lot of these size ones this morning. You notice that? Or yesterday we were catching a lot more 20 plus inches. Might just be because it's the spot, might just be because it's flat calm out. I don't know. We'll see as the day goes on here, but can't complain. I mean, just working down these big flats on this edge here and just picking them apart. There we go. There's just another, you know, super nice healthy 17-incher out here on Leech. Awesome. All right, you know, every fish we're catching out here today has been on, obviously, the jig and minnow combination. And you could probably catch fish on something else, but this is just hands down the most effective way, especially when you're running this short-range pitching type of fishing. And today we're fishing, you know, a lot calmer, 1/8 ounce Caitlin's Google-eyed jig. And yesterday we were doing a lot more quarter because it was real windy out. So you can kind of get away, you know, whenever you're fishing shallow water, as light as you can go. Normally a good thing and still be efficient with it. And I'm fishing this on the Elliott rods, my favorite finessey jig rod. In fact, if you're just looking for a rod that's just a super finessey all-around great rod, Elliott 7.3 medium light fast action rod. It's kind of longer than most guys are probably used to in a jig rod, but you get this little bit of extra tip play in this rod, which is absolutely phenomenal when you get a lot of these mush bites. And a lot of times what I always tell people when they get this mush bite, you know, that classic jig bites, that thunk, that real hard pop. We've got some of those today, but a lot of times you'll just pick up and there'll be weight on there. And I always say just put a little bit of pressure on there. And if you have a rod with a soft tip, that rod will load and you'll just feel that fish kind of going like that on there. Then obviously you reel down, set the hook. If you're fishing with a rod that's just too fast, too stiff, you're not going to be able to get that tip play in there. And on the bottom, on the business side of it, and 10-pound Suffix 832 on here, and the Piscifun Carbon X 2000. You guys know if you watch this channel long enough, this is just my absolute favorite jigging combination. Phenomenal reel, and I'll throw discount codes and links to all this stuff down in the description of the video. Now, most of the time we're jig fishing, we've shown this in other videos, you know, you're doing something that looks like this, you're pulling that jig real far. When we're doing this, we're not really trying to get into fish when we're fishing. We're trying to just keep that bait in fish. So we're almost just doing a lot of stuff that looks a lot like this right here. Just real small little hops, almost just barely popping it off the bottom, and you're not letting it lay on the bottom because that does not entice a bite. You're just kind of constantly moving it. Second it hits bottom again, pop it back up, and just kind of keep it moving real slow like this. But you can see how short and finessey I'm fishing this, and this is absolutely going to get you more bites than doing something like this. And we've seen people fishing this spot where they're like trolling the jigs. They're getting the trolling motor down and they're just going and they're pulling it along. Well, that's a great way to cover water, but it's not a great way to get a lot of these fish to bite. What we're doing is we're making 100% sure we're in those fish when we're casting out. We're getting the bait out there, getting down to bottom, and just fishing it super finessey. Now, most of the time when I'm jigging shallow water, I like a mono or fluoro, but because we're doing a lot of this just real short kind of working the bait in place, I like something that has a ton of sensitivity, like a braided line will. So, you know, out here, if you guys find yourself in the situation where you're seeing fish in tight pods on a lot of these big flats, really slow things down. Go as light as you can and almost just kind of work that jig in place. And a lot of times it can turn your day around from catching a few fish to just catching a ton of fish when you're fishing this way. There we go. It's gonna be a better one. That's gonna be a little bit better fish here. Oh yeah, that's a little bit more what we're after. I'll grab the net and net them. Some of these ones out here are just so incredibly fat, and that is just a super high quality fish right there. That is what we're after here. We'll grab the net. That's a good one, Lou. That's a little bit more what we're after.
Beauty. Really nice.
That's that next size bracket of fish. And like I said, it's kind of the awesome part about fall is, you know, out here is this lake's so healthy, has so many fish in it. And of all sizes. Look at the melon on that one. Wow. Is that a nice fish?
He's hungry.
Yeah, let's get him off. We'll show him off to you guys quick. Look at that. I mean, that's about as good as it gets. That is a tall, thick one out here on leech. Easily probably 26, maybe 27 right there. Wow, just too awesome of a fish. We'll let that guy go. Do it again. Sharp shooting him off the 360. Couldn't really get more simple up here in these sand flats. Oh yeah, straight right here. Close to the boat. Wow, you're 100% gonna get a bite here. Should probably you. Yep, there he is. Decent or same?
Same.
Oh, getting better. I'll throw this side imaging screenshot up here of that last fish, and I saw it. We made a cast, and I could tell Lou made a little bit better cast right into the fish than I did, and said pretty guaranteed that one of us is going to get a bite here. That's a nice one. He got a lot bigger, didn't he? There we go, look at that. Coming up and in the bag. There we go. Another nice walleye right there. He's off in the net. Now that we've both gone to an 1/8 ounce, it's definitely a little more productive. There we go. Just quality fish after quality fish out here. We'll probably let that one go and
yes, sir.
Do it again and again and again. There he goes. There it is. Decent. Decent fish.
A little bit better.
Decent head shakes on them. Well, just work.
Seems like it's
Staying down. They just are such a fun fish to catch out here. They pull so hard. They're so healthy. They're up in shallow water. They're smashing jigs. Look at that guy as he comes up. Oh man, never gets old. That is pretty awesome right there. Another super nice one. Here, I'll unhook him quick. There we go, look at that. Fish after fish out here on leech. Absolute ton of fun. Too cool.
Dandy.
Dandy fish. All super healthy, all super clean. There he goes. Well, that is going to do it for spot number 1 out here. caught an absolute pile of fish. I think we got 20 some fish off just this first little spot, if we're going by the amount of GoPro clips we got. And yeah, I mean, what can we say? You know, it's only, what time is it right now? It's 9:40. And just obviously caught a pile of fish in the first, you know, hour or so here. So hopefully you guys enjoyed watching this video. We're gonna keep fishing for a little while longer before I gotta go back home. Probably gonna jump around, look for some other spots that might have some bigger fish, and just do some exploring. That's kind of the coolest parts. I spent a lot of time on leech, but leech is absolutely huge, and there's a ton of the shallow water structure to fish. So we're gonna go try to break more of it down. That's always the fun part about coming to a new body of water, or one that you don't know every nook and cranny of. Like I do at most of the lakes around my house. So hopefully you guys enjoyed watching this video. Stay tuned for more content. The next video you'll see will not be on Leech Lake. It'll probably be on a river system, I believe, doing some fall walleye fishing. But I appreciate you guys watching. Stay tuned for more. We'll see you next time.